Yeah, now it is recording. Yeah, I'm so sorry about it. So let me say. So do you see assignment 1?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. So let me sort of zoom in a little bit. This is better. This is
Yes.
better. Yes. Yes. Tell me. So you wanted to ask about one of problem 7 and 8?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Tell me.
Ma'am, in
Hmm.
question number 7 and 8,
Hmm.
how we are supposed to approach the solution for finding the infimum and supremum of S, if they exist?
Okay. So Aman, have you tried this problem a little bit?
I have tried in question number 10, 11, 12, and others, but I have doubt in how can I approach for
Yeah,
infimum
yeah.
and
My
supremum.
question is, have you tried problem 7 and 8 a little bit? Is what I'm asking.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Let me see. So let's see. Yeah. How do I exit this screen? This doesn't seem to be working. Just a minute. See, the first thing is that anytime that you see a question which says find the infimum and supremum, the first thing is, let's sort of stare at the set. Yeah. So let's look at problem 7, for instance. Yeah. So you first look at the set S and try to write down the elements of S. Yeah. Just a minute. For some reason, I am not able to exit the screen. So I will sort of stop sharing this screen for a minute and come back. Yeah. Is that okay? Please hold on.
Okay.
What am I doing? Cancel. So I'm not going to print it. I don't want that. 50 page. Sorry, what is this happening? Give me a minute, please. What is happening? Just a minute. Just a minute. All right. So sorry for the disturbance. Yeah. Let me get back. Yeah. So I was here and yeah. So let me try this. Yes. So let me sort of. Yes. Thank you for being very patient. So let me try to write down something in order to help this. So let me share my screen again. Yeah. Yeah, is this working? Yeah, share my screen is working. Yeah. So do you see something? These were the class notes, yeah? Yes. So this is what we did last time. Okay. Let's see. Let me try if this is working. Okay. This is question number 7. and we are discussing assignment 1 today. Yeah, so Aman has raised this problem that we look at this set, yeah, 1 by m plus 1 by n, such that, right, to find the infimum supreme. Yeah, so let's sort of write down some elements of this set to see what are we trying to do, which set are we looking at. Yes, is that okay?
Yes.
Yes, everybody with me? Can you hear me and see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Bit louder, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know what is the issue, but anyways, let me go ahead. So, you know, let's take m and n to be both 1. That's 1 by 1. Yeah. Next is, let's take m to be 1 and let's take n to be 2. Right? Let's take m to be 1 and let's take n to be 3. And so on. Yeah, that is one way. And the other way is, let's take m to be 2 and let's take n to be 1, let's take m to be 3 and let's take n to be 1, and so on, right? This is how the elements of this set are going to look like, right? So what are the typical elements? So 1 by 1 plus 1, this is 2, and 1 plus 1 by 2, this is by 2, 1 plus 1 by 3, this is 4 by 3, and 1 plus 1 by 2, this is 3 by 2, 1 plus 1 by 3, this is 4 by 3. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody is with me so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. This set is non-empty, right? Yes.
Yes.
And the question is to find the infimum and supremum. So the other thing is, let's look at the infimum, for example, yeah, or the supremum. Which one do you want to work? Okay, so let's see. So the other thing is to make sure that this set is bounded. Yeah. So if it is bounded below, then the completeness property, it follows as a consequence of the completeness property of R that the set S will have an infimum in R. And if this set is bound above, then the completeness property of R will say that the supremum too will exist in R. Correct? So do you see that? Is this set bounded?
Yes, ma'am.
Is S bounded?
Yes.
Yes. So I don't know what is the issue. The voice is very feeble. Yeah, maybe this is the issue. Okay. Yeah. So does everybody see that the set is bounded?
Yes,
If
ma'am.
yes,
Yes,
if
ma'am.
yes, can you give me an upper bound and an lower bound for this set? Let's go back.
0 and 2.
2 and 0.
So everybody agrees that 0 is a lower bound for this
Yes,
set.
ma'am.
Is a lower bound for S, and 2 is an upper bound for S. Correct? Everybody agrees
Yes, ma'am.
with this? Yes. You have to give me an argument. You know, I'm just writing in here, but why is, 0 is a lower bound is clear. All of these are positive. And why is 2 an upper bound? You should write that each of m and n are at least 1. So the reciprocals would be also at most 1. So the sum would be at most 2. Correct? Is that okay? Everybody with me?
Yes.
Yeah. So with this observation, that this set S has a lower bound and an upper bound. The completeness property of R says that the infimum and the supremum both exist, right? That's the first statement that you have to make. By the completeness property of R, the infimum of S and supremum of S exist. So it should be exist because there are two of them. Yeah. So let me rub this. Is that correct? Everybody with me?
Yes.
Yes. So now
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you tell me, for example, what is the supremum of S?
2.
Supremum
2.
is
Why is that the case?
because 2 belongs to the set and it is an upper bound.
Correct. So 2 is an upper bound for the set S and 2 belongs to the set S. So one of the exercises in the assignment tell you that 2 must be the supremum of S. Correct? And 2 is an upper bound for S. It follows that. So why does it follow that? 2 is the supremum of S. Is this okay with everybody present here?
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, so ma'am, in question there's a question you said where we have to prove this. Now,
Yes.
after question, if we have to use this fact, can we just directly refer to question problem 4?
When you have to write this, yeah, you can do that. Yes.
Thank you.
But I assume and I would like all of you to have sort of understood and solved problem 4. See, at some point of time, you should do these exercises. That's my only goal. Is that
Yes,
okay?
ma'am. After
Yes.
solving 4, I have written.
Correct. So even if you have not been able to solve 4, you can quote problem 4 and say that you are using that here, assuming that statement is correct, and go ahead. And you can sort of fiddle around with problem 4. Sooner or later, you'll get it. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So what remains is now the infimum of this. Yes. Okay. So now, as we said in discuss in class, what is that you have to do? You have to make a good guess for the infimum. And then you have to try and prove that that is the infimum, right? That is the way to go about these problems. Is that correct? So what is your good guess? So in order to make a good guess for that, you have to write down as many elements of S as possible. And then you try and make an assertion that perhaps this looks like a good candidate for the infimum. So what do you think should be the infimum of S, looking at the elements of S?
0.
0, yeah. So it seems like 0 is a candidate for the infimum of S. Is everybody with me on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So when you have to sort of, so let's go ahead, yeah. So the claim is, so I'm trying to make this assertion that claim. So this is unsubstantiated at the moment. I'm yet to verify it, that 0 is indeed the infimum of S. Right. So in order to show that, we have to show two things. One, 0 is a lower bound for us. That we have sort of done. Yeah, that we have picked it. That this is okay. Now the second thing is to show that 0 is the greatest lower bound, which means that if you pick any other lower bound, then then 0 is bigger than that, right? That is what you have to show, right? So what do you do? So suppose not. So you have to verify this claim, right? Is there any student who has tried this? And would you like to sort of go about explaining this? So is there any student who has tried this problem and would like to explain this, that 0 indeed is the infimum of S? So does the silence means no?
Can we? I can try, but I'm not sure if it's going
You
to
can try. Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
So who is the student? Let me sort of go back. So Ayush, you want to try? Yeah. So Ayush, have you sort of written it on a piece of paper?
I haven't written it down, but
Okay.
I can try explaining it.
Okay, so Ayush, what we do is, go ahead. So what, this is a general advice to everybody, for the next time, for the tutorial session for next time, what what I will request all of you to do is, whatever you have tried, try to write it down on a piece of paper, and before this tutorial session, keep it scanned somewhere. So in the tutorial session, what you can do is, I will change the settings. You can also share your screen and I can sort of see what you have done and everybody else can see what you have done. Yeah, that way I think it will be more interactive. Is that okay? So that is something to be done. Does it seem like a good idea to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. So I will also write in. Okay. Yeah. So Ayush, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So, ma'am, for any epsilon greater than 0, we can
Okay.
say by the Archimedean property of set of real numbers that there
Right.
exists an n belonging to the set of natural numbers such that 1 by n is less than epsilon by 2.
Correct. Correct.
Same way we can claim for
Correct, correct.
any.
Excellent, excellent, Ayush. Yeah, so let me sort of write it down since you cannot share your screen for the benefit of all the listeners here. Yeah, that's wonderful. So let's see. So what is Ayush trying to say? So Ayush is trying to say that suppose this claim is not true. Yeah, so suppose not. Suppose not. So then what happens? Then beta is the infimum of S. Where beta is strictly positive, right? We have to show that this cannot happen, right? So we have to show that this cannot happen, meaning what? So the first thing is, so we have to show that. So one way to go about it is, so it is, so let me write the statement and see if it makes sense to everybody. So let me make this bigger. It is enough to show that there exists integers, positive integers m naught, n naught, such that 1 upon m naught plus 1. So what is it I am trying to show? I'm saying that you can find positive integers m naught and n naught such that if you look at this, what is this? 1 upon m naught plus 1 upon n naught is by description a typical element in the set S, right? So all I'm trying to show is that there is an element in S which is strictly less than beta. So what do I achieve by showing this? If I can show this, then this would say that beta cannot be a lower bound for this set S. Correct? Is that okay? Does everybody see this? Yeah, everybody sees this?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes? Is that a yes with everybody present here? Any questions, please ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? Yeah. So Ayush is suggesting, how do we go about this? Yeah. So Ayush is suggesting one approach. So I'll write it down over here. So this is Ayush's approach. Sorry. So what is he saying? He is saying that one way to go about it is, so he's saying that choose m naught in n such that the reciprocal 1 by m naught is strictly less than beta naught, and choose n naught a positive integer such that 1 upon n naught is strictly less than beta 2. So what he's saying is that if we can choose m naught and n naught like this, satisfying these inequalities, then their sum will satisfy this and we will be done. Correct? Yeah. So then 1 by m naught plus 1 by n naught, this is an element in S, and 1 by m naught plus 1 by n naught is strictly less than beta. This cannot happen. This contradicts the fact, this contradicts the assumption that beta is this is the greatest lower bound of the set E. Yeah, this is in fact saying that beta cannot be even a lower bound of the set E. Well, not E, the set S. Is that okay? Is everybody with me up till this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And so the next question is, so the first thing is that we convince ourselves that this will work. And the next thing is, why can we choose M0 and N0 like this? We can do that, use the Archimedean property. And why can you use the Archimedean property here? We can use the Archimedean property because by assumption beta is positive. So let's sort of recall what is that I am using here. Let me write down here. So I'm scribbling in a different color. So recall Archimedean property. Yeah, what is that? Given any x positive, so this is sort of one of the corollaries to the Archimedean property. There exists a positive integer n such that 1 by n is less than x. So I'm going to apply here to Archimedean property to beta by 2. Yeah, so I am using the fact here that beta is positive by assumption. Yes, is that okay? Is that okay with every student here?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. So so I have sort of, in fact, solved the entire problem here for all of you. There are two things that I want to say here. One, this is not, so this is just scribbling. This is how you sort of scribble on a rough sheet and try to get around the proof. Right, this is not the way you present the proof, right? This is sort of blackboard. This white paper that I am using, this journal, is like a virtual blackboard. This is how you scribble in the on blackboard to make sure that all of you are with me. If I write directly that use the Archimedean property to get an M0 N0 satisfying whatever is written here in this black ink, then meaning my perception is that you will be lost. This looks a little more transparent, but once you have sort of understood what is to be done, then you have to learn how to write it down properly. So the way you should write down the proof is, so maybe also I'll demonstrate that for the benefit of this. So that is how you should sort of learn how to write down the proof. Use the Archimedean property to get positive integers M0, N0 in N such that 1 upon M0 is strictly less than beta by 2 and right, and we don't care, M0 and N0 can be the same integers, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that is also allowed in the set S. So then 1 upon M0 plus 1 upon N0 belongs to S and satisfies right. So you go ahead. This contradicts the assumption that beta is the greatest lower bound of the set S. Yeah. So I'm trying to emphasize here that this is not the way that you should scribble. Right. You should sort of write down the proof in a manner others can read and understand. This is the way you are going to you are supposed to convey mathematics and statistics. So all I am trying to say is that if you want to learn how to write mathematics, you should look at books and not class notes. See, class notes, sometimes much more information is given than it is required, and sometimes the proof is the proof starts from this point, that we started from this point. We wanted to show that there is an element in S which satisfies this quantity, right? So this is a general advice that please try sometime to sort of read books and sort of try to spend time as to how proofs are written and how problems are solved. And this is the one goal of giving you assignments and making sure that all of you write down the assignments and submit the solution, so that you get some practice in writing the solutions and proofs. Yeah, so please spend some time on that. Anyways, so coming back to this problem, is this solution okay with everybody present here?
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, instead of doing this, can we just say that if we claim that beta equals to 0, then to contradict that claim, we need to show that there exists a beta which is greater than 0. And
Say that again. So if you want to show that beta equal to 0, right? You want to show that the infimum of S is equal to 0, then yes.
so if we want to contradict, we need to show that there is a beta greater than 0 which is an infimum of S.
You have to show that infimum of S is equal to 0, right? Now you want to contradict that. I don't understand what is happening. Infimum is unique when it exists, right?
No, ma'am, I am just telling the first statement. You have also written, right, that beta equals to infimum of S and beta greater than 0 to contradict.
Yes.
So I am also saying that means to contradict, we need to show that we have a beta greater than 0 which is an infimum of S.
Yes, this is this statement. Yes.
So by definition,
this is exactly this statement, right?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So by the definition of infimum, we can say that that beta plus 1 cannot be an infimum of the set S because it is the greatest lower bound.
Yes. So yeah, let me write down what you're trying to say so that I don't lose the string of arguments. Yeah, is that okay? So alternate approach. So the claim is that 0. Sorry, so the 0 is the infimum of S. Suppose not. So let the infimum of S be strictly greater than 0. So I'm calling it, you're calling it beta. Yeah. So now you're saying that beta plus 1 cannot be, what are you saying?
Cannot be an infimum of the set by the definition of greatest lower bound.
It cannot be a lower bound, right? Infimum, certainly it cannot be. Yeah. Lower bound for S. Yeah, is that what you want to say?
Yes,
Since it is bigger than the greatest lower bound. Yes.
so we can find X belongs to the set S such that X is less than beta plus 1.
There exists an element in the set S such that X is less than beta plus 1, correct?
Where then since X belongs to S, we can write X is equals to 1 by m naught plus n naught for some m naught and n naught belonging to natural number.
Yeah, so there exists m naught, n naught in N such that, so I'm just writing whatever you are saying, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, is that okay? Yes.
Yes.
So, all right, so there exists m naught, n naught in the set of natural numbers such that this is what we have done so far. Yes.
So from that statement, we can say that X minus 1 is less than beta, which is a contradiction.
1 by n naught plus 1 by n naught minus 1 is less than beta. So what does this contradict?
That beta is a lower bound because we have assumed that X belongs to S and X minus 1 is less than beta.
Correct, but why is this element x minus 1 an element of S? This may not belong to S, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? This element, does this belong to S? Yeah, in order to sort of get to a contradiction, we need to make sure this, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so you have sort of hit a roadblock.
Okay, ma'am.
Correct? Is that okay? Are you convinced?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this alternate approach doesn't seem to work for now. So I'll put a stop sign here. Yeah, but well tried. Yeah, this is how you sort of make progress. Everybody understood this? This will sort of hit a stop sign somewhere.
Ma'am, I had a separate approach. I just wanted to run it by you first.
You want to run back here. Which alternate approach?
Ma'am, first, by completeness theorem of R, property of R, we know that there would be an infimum of S. So let alpha be the infimum.
Okay, so
And
I'll write it down again. I'll otherwise sort of lose track of what you're trying to say. Yeah, just hold on. Yeah, so alternate approach 1, alternate approach 2. As I said, for next time, please make sure all of you write down what you have in the mind before the tutorial session, and I will change settings so that you can also share your screen. Please scan that, put it on your desktop, laptop, whatever you're using, and that's the way we will conduct the tutorials. Is that okay? Yes. Now go ahead. Yeah. Tell me your name, please.
Ma'am Priyanshu.
Okay, Priyanshu. So now you're saying that the infimum of S exists and let alpha be the infimum of S, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, ma'am, using the Archimedean property for M and N belonging to the set of natural numbers, there would be an epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 greater than 0, for which 1 by M, there are two separate equations here, inequalities. 1 by M is strictly less than epsilon 1, and the second is 1 by N is strictly less than epsilon 2.
But what are epsilon 1 and epsilon 2?
They're greater than 0 values.
So any arbitrary epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, you want to fix them
yes,
now? Okay, just a minute.
They're arbitrary values.
Just a minute. Let me write that down so we will see where are we heading.
Yes.
You said M1 and M2?
Belong to the set of natural numbers.
Correct. So let me write down for epsilon 1, epsilon 2 positive. Use, so I'll just use shorthand Archimedean property to get M1, N1 in the set of natural numbers such that this holds and this holds. Correct? This is what you want to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, now we know that when we add these two inequalities, we know that 1 by M plus 1 by N will be strictly less than epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2.
Correct.
And this whole inequality would be in turn greater than 0. I mean, what
Which
I want
one
to say is 0.
Want to put greater than 0 here?
Ma'am, the entire inequality would be 0 is less than or less than 1 by M plus 1 by N, which is in turn less than epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so this is what I've written, right? 0 is dominated by 1 by M1 plus 1 by N1 is dominated by, yeah, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
yeah, okay, all right. Next.
Now, ma'am, we know that 1 by M plus 1 by N is an element of the set S.
Okay.
And as 0 is a lower bound of the set S, hence alpha would exist between 0 and the value and the expression 1 by M plus 1 by N.
Just a minute. You are saying that this element belongs to S and 0 is a lower bound for S.
Lower bound.
And yes. Alpha by definition is the greatest lower bound. So yes. You are saying that 0 is this, and so this must be this, and this is less than equal to. So you want to say this? Is that what you want to say?
Actually, ma'am, there is a bit of a lag here, so it's taking a bit of time.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's a problem from my side.
So all I have written is 0 is
Yes,
less than equal to alpha is strictly less than 1 by m1 plus 1 by n1.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is the greatest.
So,
okay.
yes, ma'am.
You want to put
So
a less
now,
than equal to here, right?
Yes, ma'am. Less than equal to. Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Ma'am. So now, ma'am, when we combine the two inequalities.
Which one? This one, this, and this.
This one and the one with epsilon 1 and epsilon 2.
Correct.
Epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2.
Yes.
So, ma'am, we get another inequality which says that 0 is less than or equal to alpha, which is less than epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2.
Correct. So this is less than epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. Correct.
Ma'am, but now as epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 are any arbitrary values,
Yes.
Hence we can choose.
So then this would right. So this would imply, since epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 are, sorry, not alpha 1 and alpha 2, since epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 are arbitrary, it follows that alpha is equal to 0. Yes, this is also correct. Yes, this is also correct. Yes. No, in fact, you don't have to even work with epsilon 1 and epsilon 2. You can actually work with just one epsilon. Take epsilon 1 equal to epsilon 2 equal to epsilon.
Yes.
So what you will get is 2 epsilon here. That doesn't change anything as long as it is arbitrary.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this alternate approach too is also fine. Absolutely fine. Is this okay with everybody else present here? Let me see how many of you are here. 32. Oh, somebody joined. Okay. All right. Excellent. Okay. All right. So once let's go back to the assignment. Then I don't hear anybody else. Yeah, so this is my assignment. Sorry. So I think once you have solved problem 7, all of you should be able to do problem 8. Yeah. So all of this is mental block. Just try it. I think all of you should be able to do all the problems. Very simple. It'll just give you a practice of computing, infimum, supremum, and some practice in writing. Any other questions?
Ma'am, in question 5, how do we approach
question 5? Did you say question 5?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
How do we approach to saying that supremum doesn't exist? Look, we clearly know that this is a divergence. It is with going towards plus infinity, so supremum can't exist. But
what is the only example of a set that you have seen for which the supremum does not exist? A rigorous proof.
Ma'am, simply the maximum value will be, the set will be maximum when n is maximum and minus 1 to the power n by n is maximum. So n is maximum at infinity, and the other.
Right. Answer my question. What is the only example of a set for which you have so far seen that the supremum does not exist?
Ma'am, natural numbers.
Natural numbers. So use that here, no? Use that information here. How did we prove that the set of natural numbers, so the supremum does not exist for that? Use that information here, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. The same way that we assume that alpha is supremum, then 1 plus 1 minus alpha, we take 1 minus alpha less than n naught, then alpha is less than 1 plus.
I am just dropping a hint. Details are yet to be worked out.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, so just a hint, we already saw an example in class which is not bounded above. Yeah, here is problem 5. You're saying that there's another example of a set which does not seem to be bounded above. So something similar, try something similar.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
could you please say how to start, like how should we approach number 13?
13. So given x and y real numbers with x strictly less than y, there exists an element t which is not rational, which sits between x and y. Okay, so what is that you have seen, related to this question? We have worked out in class that given any two real numbers, x is less than y, there exists a rational number that sits between two of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? That's what we have worked it out in the class, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And do you know an example of a number which is not rational? We have also seen that in class.
Yes, ma'am. Root 2 or root 3.
Correct. So try to put these two observations together and see if you can work out something.
Okay, ma'am.
So all I'm trying to say is that you don't have to start right from the basics. You can use these observations, put them together to see something new. Yeah, I'm just giving you a hint, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, so problem 14, there is a typo here. This is not N-O-R-E, this should be N-O-R. Z is neither bounded above nor bounded below. Sorry, I just missed this typo earlier.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, in the question number 12,
Yes.
ma'am, the next part, if yes, how are they related?
Yes.
Ma'am, it is evident that the supremum of S is less than equal to the infimum of T, but I'm not able to prove that. Means how should I approach to like?
So how did you get to this? How did you get to this evident statement without sort of you must be having some thought behind it, right?
Yeah, I mean by intuition we can say like I can guess.
So all I'm sort of requesting is to sort of provide a logical reasoning to your intuition.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ma'am, here it is saying that AC is less than equal to T for all values of S and for all values of T. Um, then and S and 2 are two non-empty subsets of R. That means AC is bounded above and T is bounded below. So by completeness property, supremum of S and infimum of T will be will exist.
Correct.
Um,
Yes,
and
absolutely correct. Yeah.
and let I am assuming that supremum of S is alpha and infimum is T is beta.
Yes.
Then there will be three possible choices. That is alpha is less than beta.
Yeah,
Alpha.
that is one way to go about it. Yeah, perfectly all right. Yeah, so you have to you sort of rule out the other two possibilities.
Yeah. Um, I
Well,
was
not
trying.
the two. Yeah.
I was trying that, but I cannot rule out the possibility where alpha is less than beta. And I am not also sure that whether it should be ruled out. Um,
Okay, so try some more. Niladri, right? Try some more.
yeah, okay.
Try some more. You are on the right track.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, I will sort of close this meeting for now, and close meaning I will sort of let's wind this meeting now. An earnest request is, please remind me next time if I forget to record any meeting. Yeah, that is very, very important. Okay, 1 and 2, as I said, submit your assignments in time as a single PDF file over Moodle. Please do not send me any emails. Moodle is equipped to take on all your assignments. And 3, for the next meeting, next tutorial session, I would like all of you to write down whatever problem that you have solved up till that time. Write that down on the piece of paper neatly and scan it and put it as a PDF file somewhere on your desktop, and we can share screen, and I think that will be much better. So that I can see what you have written, and let's try that. Yeah. So I think with that, let's sort of close this session, and we meet in the afternoon at 2 p.m. All right. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye. Take care.